Escape from the 21st Century is a mainland Chinese film that plays like the kind of hyperkinetic editing, filming that people have been threatening will completely consume the world of entertainment thanks to things like YouTube and the TikToks. And when it's done in a feature film format of like hyper editing, cutaways, gags, on-screen animation, I just love it. I know it's sometimes a little bit too much for some people, and this is definitely a film that if you don't get on its wavelength, you will not like it at all. But for me, this is the good stuff. Plot of Escape from the 21st Century is that there's three friends. It's 1999 on the planet K, which really looks like mainland China and probably has nothing to do with if you set it on a different planet and don't say that it's mainland China, then you can get around censorship issues. And that the three teenagers are living their best life, getting into fights, just, having fun when they suddenly fall in a bunch of toxic waste and they discover that when they sneeze, they jump 20 years into the future. They take this revelation very nonchalantly and start playing with what they can do by doing this time traveling, and then start to figure out that, oh man, their lives, because they're jumping into their future bodies, it may not be as fun as it first appears to be. So you have this hyperkinetic movie that, again, gag, breaking the world every chance that it can get, and then about halfway through turns into a very kind of serious treatise on realizing that, like, your future self will suck and that you really can't do anything about it. Because, like, one of the rules in the movie is that, like, if fate has decided that that's what it's going to be, you can't change that fate. Of course, you can do some fun time traveling, Bill and Ted style shenanigans later on, but it's very loosey-goosey. Like, the time travel in this movie, it's definitely not airtight. Don't question it too much. But because of the whole tone of the film, it doesn't really bother me in the same way that, like, the time traveling in Looper makes me ask more questions and makes me feel disconnected from it. Here, because it's so propulsive, it's just super fun. The director co-directed a film many years ago called Lee's Adventure, which starred J.C. Chan, son of Jackie, which had a similar kind of like video game inspired time travel plot, but he had seemed to be put in movie jail for a long time. And here you get him making a picture that feels like the buildup of all the years that he wasn't able to put stuff on screen. So you get like the energy, the vibe, the music, tons of anime inspired visuals. This is going to be compared to stuff like Scott Pilgrim, but like it feels so personal to the director and also approaches things in ways that you wouldn't expect, with like the big dive into hyper melodrama in the middle that may or may not work for you. Did work for me, before swerving into more like Stephen Chow-esque comedy in the end and the big climax, or expectations you may have of genre like this is an action movie, but I wouldn't go see it to see like action scenes, because it's more like the idea of action scenes and the gags you can do with it, as opposed to the excitement that can be derived from like the action happening on screen. It's very reminiscent of a film that Midnight Madness played a couple years back, unfortunately during COVID, called Get the Hell Out, which was also unfortunate because it was a zombie film that had to do with a pandemic, but it had that kind of like hyper style that you see in Asian cinema and you don't really see that much in the kind of like North American variety. Here it's very pure and utilized in a way that like some people may find it scattershot, others may just think there's so many ideas that are just stacked on top of each other. And I mean, I connected with it. There's like pure Stephen Chow-esque gags in this that like had me chuckling just thinking about them leaving the theater. And I can't wait to just show people this movie. People that I know will be on, it's similar wavelengths, but that's what this kind of film, like a cult classic that's just waiting for an audience to find it. I hope someone picks it up, probably will go. They usually do mainland Chinese films in this kind of area, and I hope that it doesn't get buried on some streaming service, but really gets the attention it deserves, and that its director gets to make more movies. I mean, if this feels like a culmination of everything that he's been wanting to do, it really fascinates me about like, well, okay, so what is his next movie? Is it another time travel stuff? What other ideas are percolating in his head that he needs to just like splatter all over the screen?